I stand on the porch of my parents' home, arms aching beneath the weight of carefully wrapped gifts, the chill of December brushing against my cheeks. The 2-hour drive through holiday traffic feels worth every minute for this one moment, to see their smiles when they unwrap the art book Dad had mentioned last spring and the cashmere scarf Mom admired while we window shopped back in October. My pulse quickens as the porch light flickers on. The door opens and Mom appears, but instead of a warm embrace, she blocks the entryway. Her expression halts the smile forming on my face. Elena. Her tone is cool, almost apologetic. This might not be the best year for you to join us. The bag in my left hand slips before I manage to catch it. What? I whisper, though the word barely escapes my lips. Behind her, Lucas steps into view, arms folded, face unreadable at first, then hardening as our eyes meet. This isn't a place for people who only show up when it suits them, he says, the words striking with the weight of something rehearsed. My throat tightens as I glance past them into the house, the dining table already set with the good china, the Christmas tree twinkling in the corner. Its ornaments the same ones I helped hang every year since I was tall enough to reach the branches. I don't understand. I manage at last. We spoke just last week. You confirmed when I'd arrive. Mom's gaze drops to the doormat. Things change, sweetheart. 2 months ago, Dad had called, anxious about their property tax bill, higher than expected. I paid it without hesitation, as I'd done so many times before. When the assessment turned out wrong, I spent 3 hours on the phone with the county office to get it fixed. Yet tonight, they can't even let me step inside. What did I do wrong? I ask, voice steadier than I feel. Mom gives a faint shrug. You've become distant, too focused on your own life. Must be nice. Lucas cuts in, stepping closer to the door. Buying yourself that fancy condo while the rest of us struggle. His words sting like a slap. My mind flashes to the overtime I worked last spring to cover his son's medical bills, the vacation I canceled because of yet another emergency call from him. My fingers stop trembling. A cold clarity replaces the confusion. Okay, I say softly, nothing more. I turn, gift still in hand, and walk toward my car. My steps are measured, deliberate. They won't see me stumble. Behind me, Mom's uncertain voice drifts through the cold air. Elena. I don't turn around. From the corner of my eye, I catch Dad's silhouette behind them. He doesn't speak or step forward, just stands in the doorway, gaze shifting aside when I glance back. The gifts feel heavier as I lower them carefully into the trunk, each one chosen with such care. Even the presents for my niece and nephew, wrapped in the paper they picked when they visited my condo last month. When I close the trunk, the contrast hits me hard, my arms full of gifts for a family who couldn't offer a single gesture of warmth, and their empty hands that still expect more. If I walk away now, I might lose what little family I have left, the years of shared holidays, laughter, and tradition. But staying would mean accepting that to them. My worth lies in my wallet, not in love. Sliding into the driver's seat, I glance back at the house one final time. The 3 of them stand framed in the doorway, Mom's hand half raised in a gesture caught between a wave and a plea. Dad's eyes fixed somewhere beyond the driveway. Lucas's posture loose and self-satisfied now that I've left. I start the car and pull away slowly, the glow of Christmas lights from my childhood home shrinking in the rearview mirror. 5 minutes later, I park by the curb and sit in silence, the engine humming softly for warmth. Outside, festive lights twinkle from neighboring houses. Inside, the carefully wrapped gifts in my trunk feel like quiet accusations. My hands tighten around the steering wheel as memories return, sharper now that the illusion of family affection has faded. I glance at my phone screen, the spreadsheet I updated last month for tax purposes still open. More than $11,000 spent on mortgage payments for Lucas and Clara in the past year. $75 each week for Emma's piano lessons. Nearly $3,000 for summer camps, science for Emma, baseball for Caleb. The figures blur as nausea rises. I remember the Oregon coast trip I canceled last spring when Lucas called with another emergency. 3 days of leave, a non-refundable cabin rental, gone. Those hospital bills, he mentioned, never arrived for payment. Where did that money go? This night isn't about being turned away from Christmas dinner. It's about years of my generosity being treated like an ATM of family emergencies that always ended with my checkbook open. The dashboard clock reads 7:43. I should drive home and nurse my wounds in private, but something inside me refuses to end the story that way. I turn off the engine, step into the cold, and walk back toward the house, gravel crunching under my boots. This time I don't bother knocking. The door opens easily, revealing a scene that feels rehearsed. Lucas lounging on the couch, scrolling his phone, feet on the coffee table. Mom and Dad lingering near the kitchen doorway, glasses of wine in hand. 3 pairs of eyes snap toward me. What? No lock on the door for the uninvited. I ask, voice calm though my pulse hammers. Mom steps forward, fingers trembling near her throat. Elena, honey, we thought you'd gone home. Why would you think that? I answer evenly, because you told me to leave? Lucas barely glances up. Don't be dramatic. Nobody told you to go. The air smells of roast turkey and cranberry sauce, the same scent that once meant comfort. My stomach twists as I imagine them sitting down to eat from the very china I unwrapped every Christmas since childhood. Someone with your fancy job doesn't really need family like we do, Mom says, placing her wine glass on the counter. You've got your new condo, your big city life. You've been slacking off this year, Lucas adds, finally looking up. We all noticed. Next to him, Clara shifts uneasily on the couch, eyes glued to her lap, silent as the tension hums between us. Unlike the others, she avoids my eyes completely. From the kitchen doorway, Dad finally speaks, voice low and tired. Families help one another. That's how it's always been. The unspoken meaning sits thick in the air. Families help each other with money, and apparently I haven't done enough of that lately. So let me understand, I say, stepping farther into the living room, because I finally bought myself a place to live. After years of helping all of you, I'm no longer part of the family? Nobody's saying that. Mom interrupts quickly, her tone more defensive than comforting. You literally said it on the porch 30 minutes ago. Lucas places his phone gently on the table, his movements deliberate. We're just worried about Mom and Dad, he says. With taxes going up and their fixed income, they could lose the house if this keeps up. The house they've lived in for 40 years. The words are chosen like weapons, sharp and precise. That's not what I meant. Mom protests weakly, but there's no conviction behind it. They're not getting any younger, Lucas adds, lowering his voice to something that pretends to sound caring. Would be a shame if they had to spend their later years alone. And then everything falls into place, painfully, clearly. This isn't about Christmas dinner or my supposed absence or some vague emotional distance. It's always been about money. My presence was never truly wanted unless it came with a check attached. The holiday uninvitation was simply another way to remind me of what they really expect, to keep paying for their comfort. My gaze drifts to the framed photos along the wall. Birthdays, vacations, graduations. In every picture, I'm smiling too brightly, the perfect daughter and sister, the dependable provider, the one who keeps everyone else afloat. Mom steps closer, hesitating before reaching for my hand. We just miss how things used to be when you were more involved. Involved with my wallet, you mean? The words escape harsher than I intended, but I don't take them back. That's unfair, Dad murmurs, finally adding his voice. Is it? I turn toward Lucas. When was the last time you called me just to talk, not to ask for money? His silence is louder than any denial. And Mom, when was the last time you invited me over without needing help with bills or repairs? Her eyes drop, She blinks rapidly but says nothing. I see. My tone steadies. So I'm family when you need something, but not family enough to share Christmas dinner. You're twisting this, Lucas snaps, rising to his feet. After everything we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me? The question cuts through the room like a blade. No one answers. I draw a slow breath and straighten my posture. If I'm not family enough to be welcomed, then I'm not family enough to keep paying your bills. The silence that follows is deep and brittle. Mom's face folds with distress. Dad stares at the floor. Lucas's glare sharpens, anger flashing behind his eyes. As I reach for the door, a part of me wonders whether I'm being cruel, whether cutting them off completely is too much. Would it be wiser to keep helping a little? Or is a clean break the only way to stop being used? What do you do when the people who should love you unconditionally only value what you can give? I close the door without waiting for an answer. They've already given me theirs. Sunlight filters through unfamiliar curtains my own. Christmas morning in my condo feels strangely hollow, the silence pressing in like heavy fabric. The tree in the corner stands perfect and untouched, surrounded by wrapped gifts that have nowhere to go. My phone buzzes on the counter. Another message from Aunt Diane. Elena, why are you punishing your parents like this? Families should be together on Christmas. My throat tightens. That makes 12 relatives in 2 days who've reached out with some version of the same accusation. Lucas's group chat, the one he started without me, has clearly been busy. According to my cousin Nicole, I've abandoned the family because success has gone to my head. I flip the phone face down and walk to the kitchen. The counter is covered with gifts I meant to give. The antique fishing lure for Dad glinting in the light, Mom's hand-painted ornament resting in its velvet box, a gaming headset for Lucas, stacks of books and toys for the kids. Months of thought and care. Now just reminders of rejection. Through the wall, my neighbor's cheerful Christmas playlist hums faintly. The sound grates against my raw nerves. Then a ring at the door. In the mailbox, I find a holiday card addressed in a familiar childish scrawl. Inside, amid crayon drawings of Christmas trees, are 6 heartbreaking words. I miss you, Aunt Elena. Why won't you come see us? Something inside me cracks. I sink to the floor, clutching the card to my chest, and finally let the tears I've been swallowing for days fall freely. Night after night since then, I wake at 3 in the morning replaying the scene on my parents' porch. Was I really distant? Self-centered? I flipped through mental calendars. Weekends spent repairing their roof. Vacation days sacrificed for emergencies. The extra projects I took to cover Lucas's unexpected bills. You've been distant, self-centered with your new life, Mom had said that night. But last spring, when Lucas needed help with his son's medical expenses, I canceled my weekend trip to Vancouver and worked a 70-hour week to send money. When their basement flooded in August, I drove down immediately and paid for the repairs. When the property tax notice arrived in October, I handled it entirely. Now my spreadsheet grows longer each day, a record of 7 years of help. Mortgage payments when Lucas was unemployed, summer camps, piano lessons, emergency dental bills. Column after column of numbers, adding up to more than $35,000. The morning after Christmas, Samantha from work calls. My sister's visiting for New Year's Eve, she says gently. You should join us for dinner. I'm fine, I lie, though my voice cracks a little. I know you are, she replies softly, but nobody should be alone for the holidays. Her kindness almost breaks me again. Thanks, I whisper. Maybe I'll come. By Tuesday, another shock arrives. My bank manager calls to warn me that someone tried accessing my accounts, claiming to be an authorized family member. My stomach drops. Was it my brother? I can't disclose that, she says carefully, but access was denied. You should update your security. Later, an old friend from high school who works at the bank confirms my suspicion. Lucas has been telling people I'm having mental health issues. To justify why I've stopped helping financially. The betrayal squeezes the air from my chest. I open the spreadsheet again and add a new column, consequences. 3 days after Christmas, my phone lights up with a new message, this time from Clara. I'm sorry for what happened. I didn't agree with it. The kids miss you terribly. Tears sting my eyes as I type back immediately. I miss them too. This isn't about them. I know, she replies. It never was. The pounding on my front door jolts me awake early Sunday morning. Through the peephole, Lucas's face is distorted, eyes blazing with anger. Against my better judgment, I unlock the door. He storms past me into the living room, radiating hostility. What the hell do you think you're doing? He snaps. I blink, still groggy. I was asleep. It's 7:30 on a Sunday. Stop pretending to be innocent. You're tearing this family apart. I fold my arms, forcing calm into my voice. Really? How am I doing that when I've been here, alone for days, avoiding contact? Clara's acting strange. Mom's been asking questions about money, he accuses, his voice climbing. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By walking away from your family. The air between us tightens. Something inside me shifts, a quiet, decisive click, like a door unlocking in my chest. What exactly have you done for me, Lucas? My tone is level, but it cuts deep. Name one single thing. Color rises in his face. We're your family. We've always been there for you. When? I press. Tell me when you've been there for me. Because I can name hundreds of times I've been there for you. Thousands of dollars, countless hours. Go ahead. Remind me of one favor I didn't initiate. He glares, stammering. You think you're so perfect. I think you should leave, I say, voice steady as stone. And please don't come back. He looks stunned. I've never spoken to him this way before. His shoulders square as he steps toward me. You'll regret this, he warns. When Mom and Dad need help, don't expect me to handle it. I open the door wider, gesturing calmly. Goodbye, Lucas. He storms out without another word. Moments later, there's a soft knock. My neighbor, Greg, stands outside, concern etched on his face. Everything okay? I heard shouting. I explain what happened, embarrassed but grateful for his presence. He nods sympathetically. I've got a spare security camera. Wireless, easy to install. Let's set it up this afternoon, just in case he comes back. That small gesture of kindness reminds me how rare genuine generosity is. People who give without expecting anything in return. Samantha's New Year's dinner feels like stepping into another world entirely. Conversation flows easily, laughter unforced. No one measuring what they give or take. You seem different tonight, Samantha says later as we rinse dishes together. More at peace. I made some choices, I tell her quietly, about what I'm willing to tolerate from people. The next morning, I change my phone number a clean break, except for one private line so Clara can still reach me. Then I schedule a meeting with my financial advisor to shift my savings toward my own future instead of family emergencies. A few days later, as January begins, my phone rings with an unfamiliar number. For a moment, I hesitate to answer, but something tells me to pick up. Elena Graves? A man's voice asks. This is David Rains. I'm Clara's attorney. She requested that I contact you. I arrive at Hemlock Coffee 15 minutes early, a leather portfolio clutched tightly in my hands, filled with months of bank statements, transaction logs, and the spreadsheet I built tracking every dollar I've sent to my family. The cafe is small, nestled between a used bookstore and a florist. Far enough from my usual spots that Lucas would never think to look here. A man in his 50s approaches my table, hand extended. David Rains. Thank you for meeting me. Of course. I slide the portfolio across to him before he even sits. Every payment I've made to help Lucas and Clara, mortgage, medical expenses, camps, lessons, each with the date, amount, and purpose. $11,437 in the last 14 months alone. David adjusts his glasses and begins flipping through the pages. Very thorough. I'm a visual designer, I reply softly. Details are my life. I wrap my hands around my coffee mug for warmth. What did Clara find? David sighs, removing his glasses. Lucas has maintained a separate checking account for several years. Clara found statements while organizing their tax documents. He slides a folder toward me. With her permission, I've brought copies. Inside are bank statements from an account I've never seen, and there again and again is my name in the deposit column. He diverted the money, I whisper, the floor tilting beneath me. Not all of it, David clarifies, pointing to certain entries. The mortgage payments cleared, but that emergency root canal you covered? He spent the same weekend at a hotel. The summer camp funds? Half went to online gambling. The money for Ella's piano recital dress? A Louis Vuitton purchase that same day. I stare at the pages, nausea rising. This betrayal isn't just emotional, it's financial, calculated, layered in deceit. Clara wanted you to know. She had no idea, David continues gently. She's filing for legal separation. Her main concern now is keeping herself and the children safe. Is she? I manage to ask, my throat tight. She is, he assures me, and she's grateful for everything you've done, even if it didn't reach them the way you intended. 3 days later, my phone rings during a client call. The display reads Horizon Federal Bank, Fraud Department. Ms. Graves, the voice says, someone attempted to access your accounts using an authorization code from years ago. We've blocked the attempt, but wanted to verify. My stomach twists. Who was it? The agent hesitates. A man identifying himself as Lucas Graves. He claimed you'd granted permission. Rage burns hotter than fear. Thank you for alerting me, I say tightly. After hanging up, I sit at the kitchen counter, trembling, not from shock anymore, but from anger. Lucas hasn't just rejected me. He's actively trying to steal from me. The next morning, I walk into my local branch of Horizon Federal Bank, posture straight, voice steady. I'd like to file a formal complaint for attempted account fraud, I tell the manager, sliding over the documentation. And I want to ensure all my accounts have the strongest security available. Her eyebrows lift as she scans the file. Of course, Ms. Graves. We'll begin the process immediately. She pauses, uneasy. Your brother also banks with us. I'm aware, I reply, calm but cold. By the time I leave, a full investigation has been opened. The fraud report will ensure Lucas's actions are recorded. Consequences he never believed he'd face. When David later asks if I plan to press charges, I hesitate. Would a courtroom victory really bring peace? Or would helping Clara and the children start anew be the more meaningful justice? 2 weeks pass before David calls again. I've documented everything, he says. No charge for my time. The pattern of financial abuse is unmistakable. You have strong options if you choose to act. Thank you, I tell him sincerely. Has Clara shared anything else? She has, he answers. Copies of the transfers, evidence of where every cent went. And she wanted you to know how deeply she regrets what happened that night. That evening, Samantha calls after I explain everything. The cabin's yours whenever you need it, she says softly. Go breathe for a while. You've earned peace. Samantha's cabin sits deep among the trees, secluded and peaceful, a place so private that Lucas could never find it. The thought brings an unexpected sense of safety. For the first time in years, I'm surrounded by people who give without expecting repayment, who show kindness without strings attached. It's the opposite of the love I grew up with, not transactional, not conditional. When Clara and I finally meet there, we talk late into the night. What begins as shared exhaustion turns into an alliance neither of us expected. Our goal is simple but unwavering: to protect her children from the cycle of manipulation that's defined our family for generations. The next afternoon, my phone lights up my parents' number, appearing for the first time since Christmas. My pulse skips. I let it ring once before answering. "Elena, honey." Mom's voice sounds smaller than I remember. "We miss you." "Do you?" I reply, keeping my tone calm, detached. "Family should stick together through difficult times," she says, trying to coat guilt in sweetness. "Like Christmas." I ask quietly. There's a pause. "Lucas said you refused to help with some essential bills. We were hurt." My voice doesn't waver. That's interesting, because I know about Lucas's separate accounts now, the ones where my help actually went. The silence stretches so long that I glance at the screen to see if the call has dropped. Finally, Dad's voice cuts through, low and uncertain. "What separate accounts?" A week later, the doorbell rings precisely at 6 o'clock. I glance up from my laptop, startled. Through the peephole, I see 3 familiar figures: Mom, Dad, and Lucas, standing in the hallway. Mom clutches a casserole dish. Dad balances a small gift bag. Lucas stands empty-handed, hands buried in his pockets, expression unreadable. For a moment, I consider pretending I'm not home, but curiosity wins. When I open the door, Mom smiles too brightly. "Surprise! We brought dinner." Dad steps forward, voice polished with practiced sincerity. "Family should stick together through thick and thin. That's what your grandfather always said." I move aside, allowing them in. Immediately, they take over the space, Mom heading straight to the kitchen, opening cabinets without asking. Dad sinking into my favorite reading chair. Lucas pacing slowly around the room, his gaze sweeping over everything like he's taking inventory. "We've missed you, sweetheart," Mom calls from the kitchen. "The family hasn't been the same." "We depend on each other," Dad adds gravely. "Always have." I fold my arms. What's this really about? Lucas stops pacing, squares his shoulders, and exhales dramatically. "I lost my job last week," he says, his tone carefully measured. "Company's downsizing. I just need some help getting through the rough patch." He tries for a humble chuckle, but it dies quickly in the heavy air. "It's only temporary," Mom jumps in, "just until he gets back on his feet." "Clara isn't helping either," Dad mutters. Lucas's jaw tightens. "She's been saying things, lies about money, about me. You know how she gets, always overreacting." "She's unstable," Mom adds softly, as if sharing a secret. I walk calmly to my desk, not responding. From the drawer, I take out a leather portfolio and carry it to the coffee table. For a brief second, their expressions brighten, the unmistakable flicker of hope that I'm about to open my checkbook. "I've been expecting this visit," I say evenly, "so I prepared something." I open the portfolio and spread out printed sheets, meticulous records of every transaction I've made over the years. Each page color-coded, labeled by date, purpose, and amount. $35,472, I say, tapping the total at the bottom. That's how much I've given this family in just the past 3 years. Their faces go blank, like they're hearing another language. "And this," I continue, pulling out the bank statements Clara shared, "shows hotel charges in Portland during the same weekends you claim to be on business trips in Seattle." I place the documents beside my spreadsheet. Funny coincidence, since those dates align perfectly with the mortgage transfers I made to your account. Dad looks down at his shoes. Mom clings to the edge of her cardigan. Lucas's face flushes an angry crimson. "Where's Clara?" he demands. "What have you been telling her?" "Only the truth," I answer calmly. "She and the kids are safe. I helped them move to another state yesterday." Mom gasps. Dad jerks his head up, startled. Lucas's tone sharpens into a hiss. "You had no right." "I had every right," I reply. "I've already set up education, funds for the children. You won't have access to a single cent. Any support I provide from now on goes directly to them, not through you." I turn toward the bookshelf. Where family portraits once stood, there are now framed photos of travels, student art, and friends who treat me as more than a source of money. The change isn't lost on my parents. Their uneasy glances reveal that they notice every detail. From my desk drawer, I retrieve an envelope and hand it to Dad. This letter confirms that I'll continue covering your property taxes directly, but I will no longer provide financial assistance to Lucas. Lucas lunges forward, but Dad intercepts the letter, scanning it with growing disbelief. "You can't do this," Lucas sputters, voice breaking. "I'll pay you back, I swear. Just help one more time." Mom's eyes fill with tears. "Elena, how can you do this to your brother? To your family?" I inhale deeply, steady and certain. The real question is, how could you do this to me? For years, I've been your ATM, not your daughter. The silence that follows is absolute. No one moves, no one protests. I walk to the door and open it. I think our Christmas tradition of me not being welcome works both ways now. Mom takes a hesitant step toward me, but Dad stops her with a gentle hand on her arm. Lucas stays frozen, his expression shifting from rage to disbelief to something hollow. Fear, maybe. As they turn to leave, I reach behind the entry table and take a small wrapped box, the last gift I bought before Christmas. I hand it to Lucas. "For you." His hands shake slightly as he unwraps the paper, revealing a framed photo of his children laughing on a playground. Taped to the glass is a handwritten note. "They deserve better. Be better." He stares at it wordless as Dad leads him out. When the door closes, the quiet feels cleaner somehow, no longer oppressive but peaceful. And as I stand there, I wonder if Lucas understands what's coming. The loan applications he falsified with my name as guarantor are already under review. For the first time, accountability is finally on its way. My phone buzzes with a new message, a photo from Clara. In it, the children are exploring their new apartment, faces glowing with joy. The caption beneath reads, "Thank you for helping us start over." I save the image, feeling something inside me settle at last. This is the difference, I realize, between being used and being genuinely needed. 3 months have passed since that cold December night. My condo, once just a stopover between crises, now feels truly mine. The second bedroom has become a proper workspace, complete with dual monitors and an ergonomic chair that actually supports me through long design sessions. Fresh business cards sit on my desk, embossed in bold red. Elena Graves Design Studio. Not just a name anymore, but a declaration. Above the desk hangs a color-coded calendar, a roadmap of balance I never used to believe I deserved. Green for client projects, blue for personal time, yellow for my volunteer work at the Downtown Youth Center. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I teach teenagers how to turn creativity into opportunity. Their handwritten thank you notes cover my bulletin board like a patchwork of bright paper hope. "You've got real talent for this," Kieran, one of my students, told me last week. He's 16, with a sharp eye for design and a stubborn determination that reminds me of myself at his age. Nobody ever told me I could make money doing what I love. I think about that as I chop vegetables for dinner the following Wednesday, when my phone rings again, my mother's number. Her voice wobbles before I even say hello. "Elena, thank God you answered." The upstairs bathroom pipe burst. There's water everywhere. Your father tried fixing it, but it's worse now. The familiar rhythm begins. Her crisis, my instinct to fix it. But this time, something is different. "That sounds stressful," I say evenly. "I know a good plumber in your area. I'll call him and arrange payment directly." A long pause follows. I can almost picture her blinking in surprise, recalculating. But wouldn't it be easier to just send the money? "No, Mom," I replied gently. "I'm happy to help. This way just works better for me." Another silence. Then a quiet sigh. "I suppose that would be fine," she concedes, her tone carrying a hint of disbelief. When we hang up, I don't feel guilt or anxiety. Just peace. The steady calm that comes from doing what's right for me. That Friday evening, I host a small dinner. Samantha arrives first with a bottle of wine, followed by Greg from next door and 2 women from the youth program. The atmosphere is warm and effortless, no careful words, no invisible debts, just laughter, shared stories, and the quiet joy of being surrounded by people who give freely. Midway through the meal, Samantha raises her glass. To found family, she says. The people who choose to be in your life and love you without conditions. Glasses clink. Then she leans closer, eyes bright. You know what I've noticed? You shine brighter now that you've stopped dimming your light for everyone else. Her words settle deep in my chest. I realize she's right. Later that week, I finalize my summer plans, a trip to visit Clara and the kids in their new home 3 states away. The education trust once set up for my niece and nephew is officially active now, built so the money reaches only them, untouched by Lucas's failures. Our monthly video calls have become small beacons in my routine. Ava proudly shows off her science experiments, while Owen performs songs from kindergarten, his grin toothy and unguarded. Without their father's shadow hanging over them, their voices are lighter, freer. That night, I open the spreadsheet that has tracked years of financial support. The title bar still reads Family Financial Assistance. I scroll to the last entry, type in the plumber's invoice, then pause. With one keystroke, I rename the file Lessons Learned. I box up the Christmas gifts that never made it to my family, keeping only the ones meant for Ava and Owen. As I seal the box, a thought lingers. At what point does staying in contact with toxic family stop being compassion and start becoming self-destruction? Or is there still value in leaving the door cracked open, just enough for forgiveness to step through someday? What would you have done if you were me?